So we are ready to begin our tech talk today on transform your NX CAD experience with powerful drafting and part templates. Now, as you have questions on this topic, we do invite you to go ahead and enter them into the chat window during our session, and then we'll take live questions at the end. Our presenter today is Jason, and Jason is an engineering support co-op here at our Prolim Cincinnati office. With 3 years of hands-on CAD software experience, Jason brings a very deep understanding of design principles and tools to his work. Now, his expertise is in CAD solutions. That combined with his academic background really allowed Jason to provide valuable insights and support to our engineering team here at Prolim. We are very happy to have Jason with us today. All right, welcome, Jason. The Tech Talk is now yours.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining my Tech Talk. My name is Jason Cassell, and I am an NX application engineer here at Prolim. Today, I am going to be going over NX template files. If you'd like to learn more about other NX topics, you can go to the Prolim YouTube channel and find our previous Tech Talks and Snack Bites about various topics within NX, Solid Edge, Team Center, and other supported Siemens products. To begin, I'd like to give a quick introduction to what template files are. Template files in NX are used as the starting point when creating new files or features. The out-of-the-box templates, which can be seen in the File New window, are used as shortcuts to each application or another predefined environment within NX. Custom-made templates can be used to maintain company-wide consistency, as all files created from them will inherit the same layout and preferences present in the original template file. All templates are controlled by PAX files, which help NX connect the part files to the templates drop-down in the File New menu. The templates directory contains all template part files and PAX files and can exist on the user's machine or on a server. Now that I have introduced what template files are, I'd like to review our agenda for today's Tech Talk. Our two main topics today will be going over how to create drafting templates and part templates. To start, I will go over what a drafting template is. Then I will go over the various ways you can customize the template to meet your needs. Along with this, I will go over how we can use layers, create a parts list template, and set up a title block. Then I will go over the process of converting the file to a template file. Afterwards, I will go over part templates, where I will discuss what a part template is, what PAX files are and how to edit them, and how you can create the part template to show in the File New menu. Finally, I will go over how you can change your assembly preferences to choose the part template as a new component or new parent assembly. To begin, we will first need to create a backup of the templates directory folders. There are 3 folders we will need for the templates we are creating today. On my PC, they are located in the C drive, Program Files, Siemens, NX 2406. Here, there's a drafting folder. If we go in there, there's a templates folder. This templates folder we will need to copy and save to a different location. This will be used for our drafting templates. If we go back out into the NX 2406 folder, we can scroll down, find the UGII folder. Within this, there are 2 folders we'll also need to copy and save: Table Files and Templates. These 2 folders will be used for our parts template and our parts list template. Here I've already saved all three of them to a safe location, and I'll be using this folder as we create our templates. Now that we have created backup folders for those program files, we can start the process of creating our templates. First, we will go over how to create a drafting template. To begin, we will need to click File New, Then, under the Modeling tab, you can see the out-of-the-box templates that are given to you in NX. Model, Assembly, Shape Studio, etc. all put you in predefined environments as mentioned earlier. Here we'll choose our units. I'm going to choose inches, and then we'll choose blank. Then I'll name my part. I'm going to name this Prolim Drafting Template. And we want to save this in the original program files we saved our drafting templates folder from. I'm going to paste the path to 2406 program files, go under the drafting folder, then go into templates. This is where we want to save the file, and we'll go ahead and click OK. When you first open the blank file, you'll need to go to Application and get into the drafting environment. Here, we are given a dialog box to set up the sheets in the drawing file. Since we are creating our own custom template, we don't want to reference an existing template, so I'll create my own custom size. I'll make this sheet a 20 by 30. Here you can see the other settings you can use to customize the sheet. For now, I'll just leave those as is. When you click OK, you can see a dotted line that represents the 20 by 30 border of your sheet. To add borders, go to Drafting Tools, click Borders and Zones, and here you can hover over each of the options to see what you're modifying and customize it to your needs. For now, I'll leave those as are and click OK. Now that I've created the borders, I'd like to go ahead and create the rest of our tables and other formatting. To do that, I'll go Home, click Tabular Note, and this will be the title block which users will populate when they first open the drafting template. I want a 2 by 6, click Close. Here, if I want my company image to be in this first tab, I'll have a drawn by, checked by, etc. on this side, and people will populate these cells here. I'm going to merge these two cells together by highlighting them, right-clicking, and then clicking Merge Cells. Now I can right-click, click Import, and I'll import my company image. If I'd like this to be centered, I can right-click, edit the settings, go to Common, and change the alignment to middle center. Now, I can go through and type drawn by, checked by, approved by, the engineer that worked on this, and the manufacturing engineer. Now that we have that set up, I'd like to be able to populate this every time I open the drafting template. To do this, I'll go to Drafting Tools, Define Title Block. It'll ask me to select a table. I'll select the table we just created. In here, I don't want anyone to modify the sections where I have drawn by, checked by, approved by, etc. So I'll click on it and make sure to lock those so that those can't be edited. When you first open the drafting template, you'll be prompted to populate this title block. These labels are what you'll be prompted to fill in. So I want them to correspond with what is put in the box across from them. So here, I'll type in drawn by. Here, I'll type in checked by. approved by, enter, and I'll keep going through here until I get to the last one. Making sure to press enter after every time I've typed those in. Now I'll click OK, and our title block should be saved. I want to move this down to the corner. We'll add another table here in a little bit, but just to check and make sure we formatted this correctly, we can click Populate Title Block. And this is what the user will see every time they open this drafting template. You can see my labels are correct. And if I click through these, you can see down here, these cells are not highlighted, which is good because I want them to be read-only cells and not edited by the user. Now that we have that title block set up, we can go ahead and create our other table. To do this, we'll click Tabular Note, and we'll customize it however we'd like. I have another file that already has that table set up, so I'll just copy and paste that from there. And I'll kind of walk through how I created this. So you can customize this table however you'd like. This is where our part attributes and our drawing attributes will automatically populate. To get started with adding these attributes, we want to first select the cell that we want to edit. We'll right click on it and we'll click Edit Text. This will add a new tab to the top where it says General Text. Here we can add part attributes, object attributes, or drawing attributes. Since this is the size of the drawing sheet, this would be a drawing attribute. I'll click on that. And here I can find the drawing sheet size. I'll highlight that and click OK. And it'll automatically populate with what the sheet size is. I'll click OK. And here you can see the size of the sheet is now added to the table. For the description, I'll edit the text. And I want this to be the name of the file that is inserted into this drafting file. You can see at the bottom we have part name of the drawing sheet and part name of the master model. We want this to be the part name of the master model, since if we made it the part name of the drawing sheet, it would just say Prolim drafting template. So I'll click part name of the master model and click OK. Nothing showed up yet, but I'll show you in a little bit once I add a part to this file how it'll automatically update. So I'll click OK and we'll get back to that. Now for the drawing number, I'd like to put the name of the draft file. So what I'll do is I'll go to Sheet Zone, Drawing Attribute, and this is where we'll do the part name of the drawing sheet. You can see it comes up with the Prolim drafting template now, but when we use this drafting template in the future, and you use it in the File New menu, you'll be able to save that file to whatever name you'd like, and that name will automatically populate in the cell. So I'll click OK. And this revision number, we'll go ahead and add similarly to all the other attributes. Drawing sheet revision letter. We'll click on that. We'll click OK. As you can see, it shows up with A, and A will automatically populate. Now I'm going to add an assembly to this template file to demonstrate how the attributes will automatically update when something is changed. So when I add an assembly, the name of that assembly should come up. And now, as you can see, the name of that assembly has automatically updated in my table here. While I still have the assembly in here, I'll show you how we can customize and format our parts list. To begin, we'll go to Home, we'll open up our parts list, and here you can see a preview of what our parts list will look like. At the bottom it has the piece number, part name, and the quantity. If I want to modify this, I can go into Settings. Under Common, Section, the header location, I can change this to Above. And now our section headers are now going to be placed on the top of the parts list with all the information stemming below it. If I want to add a column, I can go over and click Add New Column, and here I can change the category, the title, attribute name, and default text. If I change the attribute name to the reference set, for example, and click OK, it'll automatically change the title and it will populate into my parts list. Now that I have my parts list how I want it to, I can place it. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this assembly in here before I go ahead and mark it as a template. So to mark it, now that I have my parts list how I want it, I'm actually going to format it better, put it up in the corner. I'll line these up with the corners down here best I can. Now that I have everything lined up how I want it to, I can go ahead and create my layers. I can go to View, More, Layer Category, and here I want to create a layer titled Format. And this is where all of the formatting for this drafting template will reside. I'll click Create, and I want this to reside on layer 256. I'll click Add, and then I'll click OK. So now format, all the formatting will be 256. I can also create other layers here. I can create one for center lines, for example, and say I want all my center lines to be on layers 1 through 10. I can type that in there, press enter. Once I press enter, it shows down here what's included. I'll click OK. If I want the drawing itself to show up on layers 5 through 25, I'll type that in and press enter. Click OK. And you can continue this process for any other layer categories and incorporate as many layers as you want. As you can see, I overlapped the drawing layers and center lines layers, and we'll see when I go to layer settings here, you can see how 5 through 10 is under center lines and drawing categories. Under format, you can see I only have one layer and it's the very last layer. If I want to add this to If I want to add this formatting to that layer, I can go to Move Layer, Move to Layer, highlight everything here, click OK, and then I can simply just select my layer category up here, Format, click OK, and now I want to make sure I show that layer. So I'll go to Layers Visible in View, Reset to Global, click OK, and I'll make sure that it's selected as all. I'll click Visible, and then I'll click OK. Now it's back. Now that we have everything set up with layers and formatting, we can go ahead and mark this as our template. So we'll go to Drafting Tools, and then Mark as Template. And here you'll be prompted with a dialog box that says Mark as Template Only, and Mark as Template and Update Packs File. We want to select this second option so that it'll show up in the File New menu. Here you can select the presentation name you'd like in the File New menu. I'll just name it Prolim Drafting Template. The description is going to be example of a drafting template. For the template type, we want it to be a standalone so that it's just the sheet without any embedded parts in it. And for the packs file, we're actually going to create our own packs file. And we're going to save that packs file in the same location we saved the draft file itself, in the NX 2406 program files, drafting, and in the templates folder. We're going to name this Prolim templates, and this packs file can be used whenever we make more drafting templates. We can tell those drafting templates to be on this packs file. It helps differentiate between our custom templates and the out-of-the-box templates. So I'll click OK. And it says this part is now marked as a template part. In order to maintain this setting, the part must be saved. Saving the part will add this part to the template collection and update the packs file. Click OK. Save the part. And if we go to File New now, go to Drawing, you can see under Standalone Part Inches, here our drafting template has been saved, and we can use it as needed. Here you can see we have a preview image. It has everything you can see here in the part file. It has the same description and presentation name that I gave it. Now that we've successfully created our drafting template, we can go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is creating a parts list template. To start, we'll need to get back into the drafting environment, so we can open any of these files here. Now that we're in the drafting environment again, we can go ahead and close out of this, click on Parts List, and here we can customize our parts list to how we like, similar to how we did before. I'm just going to go through, add a column, similar thing with the reference set name, and then I also changed the header location to be above. So we're going to close out of this, and then we're going to place our parts list. And when we place it, we can click at the top left corner of it. That'll highlight all of it. Then if we right click and go down to the bottom of the options, we can see that it has the Save As Template option. If we do this, and you'll see you'll be prompted in the File Explorer to save the file. We want to save this file in the default location in the program files. And I'm going to name this Prolim underscore parts list. And once that saves in there, we can go ahead and go to Menu, Preferences, Palettes. We'll click Open Palette, and we'll browse to our Program Files, Table Files folder, and we'll click on the Tables palette right here. Once you click OK, and then OK again, you can see down here we have a new entry in the resource bar. And you can see that we have the tables palettes and the location of where we're pointing to. We'll close out of this. We can change the view to make it a little easier to read to list. Now when we're looking through this, we want to look and see if our Prolim parts list was saved in here. And you can see even if I click refresh, it's not saved. And the reason for that is because the file here, we haven't added it to the PAX file that we're pointing to, so we'll need to edit the PAX file. And to do that, we'll go back into our File Explorer, into the Program Files, Table Files folder. You'll find the Tables palette file here. Right-click on it. And if it's your first time doing this, you might have to go into Properties, unselect Read Only so you can write to it. You might also need to go to Security, change the permissions, and allow full control. I've already done this before, so I've already had that checked. I can click OK. Right-click. I'll edit in Notepad++. And here you can see these are all the table entries that we just saw. We can simply copy the bottom entry here. Copy it. And we can paste it one line below. And there's a few things we need to change here. The ID, the table entry, would be table entry 21, since it comes after 20. Here, the presentation name, this is how it'll show up in NX. So we're going to change this to Prolim parts list. I'll actually put an underscore in there. Prolim parts list. The description will be, I'll say example parts list. Preview image, you can leave the type as UG part. The location, we're going to change to the name of the part that we just created from the parts list. So I will change this to Prolim underscore parts list underscore English. And you can double check by going into your files here. And you can see this is the name of the file here. So I'll go back into our PAX file. And the class is a parts list template. The file name we will also need to change, similarly to how we changed the location of the preview image. Change this to the same name of the part. Making sure to add that underscore English in there. And now we've changed the file name. So this entry is pointing to the correct part file. We've changed the presentation name to make it easier to dictate which one is our custom parts list. We've changed the description to help us, again, dictate which ones are our custom parts list. So now all we need to do is save. And here you see Notepad++ is asking me to do it in administrator mode. This is because you'll need administrative rights to edit this file. I clicked save there. Now if I X out, go into my NX, I can simply right click, click refresh, and you can see it pops up right here. If I go into a new file to test this out, I'll open a random drafting file. I can click this file, drag it in, and you can see it's stuck to my cursor now. Once I click, that custom parts list template is now inserted into our drafting file. So this can be used on any drafting file. It's an easy way to have a universal parts list to where you don't have to customize it every single time you create it. So now that we've learned how to create a drafting template, and within that a parts list template, let's go over how we can create a part template. So to do that, I'll close out of these. We're going to open a new file, and this is going to be similar to our drafting template, where we open a blank file, and we want to save this in our program files. Siemens 2406. This time we're going to do UGII, and then the templates folder inside here. We'll save it there. We'll name this Prolim part template. And I want those units to be in inches. Just double check and make sure everything's correct. And then we'll click OK. Now that we're in here, we want this to be a part, so I'm going to create a part in the modeling application. This can change based on your company's needs, but for now, I'm just going to put a block in here. I'll add some customization to the block so we can see the changes. So I'll add a hole to it. Again, this is just a proof of concept, since every company will have a different start part. But you can simply just have a part file, change your settings, customer defaults, preferences, change the color of this block. So I'm going to go to display, edit object display. I'll change the color to red, and then I'll save it. You can see here it says I have no write access to this file location. So a good workaround for that is you can simply change where this file is saved. You can actually save it to a separate folder and then copy this part file into that folder that we were originally trying to save it to, that program files templates folder. And once you do that, then you can follow along with these steps. We'll take a screenshot. And this will be our preview image of the part. I'll save this as a JPEG, and I'll title it Prolim part template. So now that we have our preview image saved, we have our part how we want it to. I'll go ahead and save a copy of this so that I can use this. Alright, and I'll walk you through the process of how I copy and paste it in there. So you can see here, this is the folder we want it in, the templates folder. I'll go over here. I'll grab both my image and my part template, and I'll simply copy and paste them into here. And see, again, it comes up with you'll need administrator permission to copy this folder. This is why we created those backup folders, so that if at any point during this process you make a mistake, you can go ahead and replace these program files folders with those copied folders so that you won't have to uninstall and reinstall NX. We'll click continue, continue again, and now you can see those have been added. And now to add this part template to the File New menu, we'll need to go into UGS Model Templates. Similar thing here to the Table Files palette file. We'll need to go into Properties, make sure that Read Only is not checked, and we'll go to Security, and see how it says Write is not checked. I'll need to edit the permissions and allow full control. I'll click OK. Now that we have access to it, I can edit it in Notepad++. Again, this is the UGS _model _templates PAX file. This is for all the model templates. And we'll do a similar thing here that we did on the last one. We'll copy one of these entries from palette entry. If you click on palette entry in Notepad++, it'll highlight the start and end of that entry. We'll highlight it, copy, and depending on where we paste this, changes how it shows up in the File New menu. If we paste it above this first entry, it'll be the very top template on the File New menu. If we put it in the middle of these entries, you can see this shows all units, metric and English, as well as all the modeling templates that are available in the new menu. So depending on where we paste this, changes where it'll show up there. I want this to be the first template that pops up, so I'll paste it right above here. And again, we need to change this ID. We'll put it as D0. The presentation name, we'll change it to Prolim part template. The description will change to example of part template. Here you can see the preview image. The type will leave as UG part. The location will change to the name of the image or the screenshot that we just took of the part. So this is what will show up in the File New menu, you know, that preview image that shows when you highlight over one of those templates. So to double check and make sure I name this correctly, I'll go in here, I'll copy this name, and I'll paste it right here. The class is a model template. The file name will also need to change, and it's the same name as that preview image, so I can just paste that same thing here. The units we are using for this part were in inches, so the units being English is correct here. If you were using millimeters, you would change this to metric, just like down here. So now that that's all correct, we'll go ahead and save it. And again, it comes up with the Notepad++ administrator mode. That's because you need to have administrative rights to save this. So we'll click yes. We'll go ahead and save that. And now if we exit out of here and go back into NX, you can see I'll go to File, New, if I refresh, you can see if I refresh, the part template doesn't show up, and this is because I need to restart NX or open a new instance of NX, so I'm going to go do that now. File new, go to model. You can see it shows right here. And like I said, I needed to restart NX, so I just reopened NX. You can see we have our presentation name here as Prolim part template. The type is modeling, units are in inches. Presentation name is here. The description shows here. And the screenshot we took, the preview image, is right here. You can see now I can open this part and it automatically comes up, keeping all the settings, preferences, and formatting from that original part file. And now it can be used as a start part to maintain company-wide consistency. So now I'm going to go over how we can change our assembly preferences, and we can actually select this start part or part template as our new component in an assembly. So if we go to Preferences, Assemblies, we can go to Component here. If we go to New Parent, we can change this to Select from File New. Same thing with New Component, we can go to Select from File New. Once we click OK, if I go into Assemblies and click New Component, you'll see it pop up with the File New menu, and here's where I can choose my part template. So depending on your company's application of a part template, this might come in handy to where you can add your part template as a new component into the assembly. To recap, templates help to maintain company-wide consistency. Every template saves the settings, preferences, and formatting that is within the original part file. They can be selected in the File New menu or dragged into the file for ease of use. And they save time and reduce error when creating a new part or drafting file. Now I'm going to open it up for any questions you might have. If you'd like, you can also email me at jason.cassell@prolim.com.